All right. So that was our second winter quarters match, right?
Yes, no, third,
Addy?
I think.
Really?
Yeah, we've already seen three because Alexi already played against
Oh yeah, we did.
Kiwi.
Okay.
So this is our last winners quarters. We've got Addymestic versus
Logic.
Logic, correct?
Yeah, and Addy's actually gonna go ahead and play Jhala, the new character. I know Addy plays a lot of Axe, so it makes sense that he wants to try out this cool new legend, Jhala. I really like Jhala is such a cool character, but the 3 defense versus 8 defense.
It really throws people off, yeah. And it's interesting to be able to see Addymestic play again. It's been a long time. I've seen him in one NA tournament. He's not nearly as frequent with NA tournaments as Luxury is when it comes to the very top tier EU players. So it'll be cool to be able to see him bring out a legend, especially Jhala at this level, which we have yet to see. Besides, I think a performance in Twilight in a winners finals sketch in Gravy Cancel earlier this May. So Addymestic opening with the sword. Dodges away from that down sig as Logic holds on to the Roland. Ooh, gets hit by that D-Light down air, and Addymestic trading rather evenly.
Yeah, so far both players are just sort of saring each other back and forth across the stage.
Ooh, D-Light comes out from Addymestic to put him to the orange to a ground
Oh
pound.
man, big opportunity here, but Addy doesn't find the follow-up ground pound.
You have to be careful, especially when you're playing against Jhala against Sir Roland. When it comes to trading evenly, just because the same amount of hits are coming out doesn't mean that you're trading the same amount of damage, considering how low Jhala's defense is. And we already see him. He's in kill percent from a lot of things here. D-Light Cider might be able to do it. Mine is tossed upwards of both players. Space around that barely weapon toss sends Addymestic flying into a dive kick, however, goes to the ground pound. Cider connects, weapon toss is dodged by, but Addymestic makes it back into the stage, gets the recovery, and he's looking to end the stock. Cider connects. Can Addymestic do it?
Ooh, that was a really good option. Just like, because what you expect there from Logic, he's expecting, okay, he's going to either go for a recovery or wait me out. But instead, Addy goes for this really smart, like, jump Sair option that could just get straight into Logic's face.
But Logic quickly
Really caught
uses
him
it
off
up with a
guard.
recovery, but a nair into a mine toss puts Logic into the deep yellow. Addymestic holds on to the X, gets that down air into D-Light, using the platform of Mammoth Fortress to continue the combo, but Logic is responding with a neutral light of his own. Addymestic yet to bring Logic into orange.
All right, yeah, Addy's doing a pretty good job so far. Looks fishing for a signature already. A sig won't kill, so he's going for that purely for mix-up purposes. A nice recovery nair from Logic. Well, even the damage up, especially after the side lane nair. Okay.
Cider comes
Logic.
out and Addymestic's really low on jumps. Dodges past that recovery, however, and Logic holding onto the lance, tosses aside, picks up the sword, gets the side light, and Addymestic's nearing that point where he's going to be killed by a lot of moves. But a side sig, Raw just comes out. Addymestic tosses the axe on the Logic's head. That's dangerous. Goes to the ground pound, but flubs it, and he had an opportunity to take the lead there. D-Light ground pound comes out once again, doesn't hit it, but Logic's not punishing anything here. Nair kills off the top.
Okay.
Even against a Roland with that much defense, actually manages to do it. Just shows how much damage Addymestic was able to get off, and a sidelight D-Light will solidify Addymestic's lead.
All right, yeah. Addy is doing really good in the first few seconds of the stock. Already gets Logic down into deep yellow, which is huge against a Roland.
Does a nice GC
dies.
sidelight, but ends up dying off the side of the map. Puts Logic near the orange, however, and Addymestic has the opportunity to take this first game.
Addy is looking good, but Logic refuses to be counted out. He has been doing a really good job of racking damage up when he falls behind. Can he do it this time, though? He is rather far behind, the neutral light actually dropping.
Logic goes to recovery. D-Light downer comes out. Addymestic gets a D-Light of his own, but drops the Cider follow-up, and that might be a stock. Logic doesn't get the ground pound follow-up, however. These edge guards have been rather poor from both players all game. Cider coming
If
out from
Addy didn't
Addymestic.
drop that downlight combo, he would have won the game right there.
But now he's got to try to find something with the axe. Hits the Cider, they'll do it.
Okay. Addy still wins it, but that was a little spooky dropping the downlight like that. Yeah, Addy ends up taking the game. Logic, though, really put up a strong fight, refused to be counted out too early. I would say it's very possible and maybe even likely that Logic takes the next game.
If Addymestic sticks with Jhala. Jhala being a rather new legend, you can't say that it is Addy's pure main unless he's definitely made the switch. So we'll see whether or not he sticks with that legend. He's got to pick his legend first before Logic ends up picking his. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I've seen Logic on many things other than Sir Roland.
Yeah, Logic basically is just a Roland man. He doesn't really play much else. So Addy's gonna go ahead and stick with Jhala. Logic, I assume, is gonna stick with Sir Roland because I mean that game wasn't bad. He did just fine, you know.
And in fact, if he did a little bit better with this sword off stage, I feel like he could have done more than fine. So that's what we're looking forward to seeing. And I think you're right. I think he has a great chance to be able to take this second match. We'll see what map they go to as well. Mammoth Fortress, I feel like, kind of benefited Jhala a little bit more than Sir Roland.
Yeah, I mean, Logic likes to go for some weapon throw stuff and is a little harder on Mammoth Fortress, but it's like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not like it's Great Hall or something, you know?
Right.
Like, I feel like, it really is just gonna come down to whether or not Logic can calm his head and just play his solid game that he usually does. I mean, he did pretty okay last game. It's just he got slightly outplayed, and over the long run,
and he actually looks like he wants to bring it back to Mammoth Fortress.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, gosh, it's really just gonna come down to whether or not Logic plays better, and that sounds like really broad and sweeping, but there was a lot of like small things Logic screwed up that he didn't have to, you know.
Yeah. So both players opening up the swords. Downer comes up from Logic to recovery. Put some damage onto Addymestic. Addymestic goes for his side air. Doesn't opt to pick up the spike ball. And D-Light side air dropped once again. D-Light Downer coming from Logic, showing that he can get those combos off. And Addymestic finds himself at a disadvantage. Downer comes out. Logic tries to go for a D-Light follow-up. Both players exchanging quick hits with the swords. Not really going for any strings, and they're actually trading rather evenly. Side stick, however, thrown out from Addymestic into a ground pound. Doesn't quite work out. And Addymestic has the axe. And
yeah, but Logic is finding these down air to recovery combos, which actually deal a ridiculous amount of damage, and they're really carrying him through this stock right now. And he finds the kill on Addy with that side air. He's actually not in kill percent yet, except for by signatures, so
yeah, but
he has an opportunity to
Jhala's attack is pretty high, so the signature is doing quite well, and the side air and a down air will definitely put him into that kill percent. Tries to go for a side air unarmed, picks up the axe, goes for a side air himself, but Logic is able to dodge out of the way with that D-Light. Side air is coming out from Addymestic again, and a side light nair will put Addymestic into yellow, nearly being brought into the orange now. Side light nair will definitely do it, and that signature will carry Addymestic around. Logic is running with this stock.
Yeah, Logic is running away very quickly. He finds a nair close to the top, actually. That side air, he dodged the wrong way? Okay. Okay, Logic.
Logic is somebody in the past 2 weeks that we've seen to have some interesting options when it comes to recovering. So, doesn't surprise me. The nair will kill Addymestic off the top.
Nair. So that's huge. He has like a whole stock to work with here. On top of his next one. He has a full stock lead, and he just needs to basically do half as good as he has the rest of the game to win.
Nair recovery comes out, Logic holding on to the sword. Gets hit by the D-Light Downer, Addymestic trying to bring the damage back up, but they're trading evenly, and Addymestic's whole stock behind. Ooh. Downer into Ensig connects, and Addymestic is closer to the red. Side air will send him flying. I think he's out of jumps.
That ground pound will seal the deal. Logic actually dominated that whole game. That was a very fast game, and Logic just ran away with it. There was some insane lance strings in there that he did, and mostly though it's just a super solid sword play. Down air to recovery. He hit that combo like 4 times that game, got him a ton of damage. All right, going to Shipwreck. Addy gonna switch over to Bodvar.
See, Addymestic playing a legend that he's probably more comfortable with. Like I just said, Jhala, rather new legend in comparison to most of the cast. And we're going into this next match. Logic sticking with Sir Roland to go into Shipwreck, not Mammoth Fortress. So we got a smaller map, less platforms, less stage to work with. And Logic's able to open it up with a combo right away.
Alright. So Logic is, again, just sort of dominating with this long-range lance play. Addy can't seem to find a way into it. He's already in the red, and he hasn't dealt a single point of damage except for just some basic signature punishes. Logic might have a edgeguard possibility. He might get a near-perfect stock. Misses the side air, though. Alright.
Eli Cider comes out. Addymestic nearing kill percent. Weapon toss comes out. Recovery is put out. Logec is able to recover to the side of the stage. Addymestic's yet to find any damage on Logec here. Recovery nearly kills him off the top from below the stage. And Logec, pulling under the lance, is trying to end the stock as quickly as possible. D-Light's put out. Sidelight into recovery, but the sidelight actually drops. Weapon toss is put out. Logec tries to get something off, but Addymestic's able to get some unarmed. And Addymestic, right now, even though he's taking a lot of damage, is actually just looking for whatever he can before he loses the stock. And the recovery comes out, but he was actually starting to get to a point where he was putting some damage back onto Logec's Sir Roland.
Really, he only hit 1 neutral light though. Like, he has
point.
hit a grand total of 1 neutral light and then 2 punishes for ridiculous signatures that Logec went for. And other than that, all right. So now he's starting to create opportunities for himself.
Yeah.
He gets a hammer. He catches Logec off guard a few times, and that's huge because those hammer hits deal so much damage. This might be a chance for him to get a kill on Logec. The bomb whiffs though, and Logec continues to rack up pinch. This isn't looking good for Addy.
Yeah, Logec goes for the anti-air, forces Addymestic to recover high. Nair comes out, but doesn't kill off the top. Still, Roland's defense being that high, and a weapon toss into Nair puts Addymestic into kill percent. Addymestic punishes him for throwing out a signature, but Logec gets that down air and puts Addymestic. Ooh,
okay.
Nair will stop the ground pound, but that was almost Logic's stock to take.
All right, that was a good idea from Addy to use the Nair to recover or to cover his head as Logec went for the ground pound. Finds the kill off of it, and Addy is gonna go for some really good reads there. He went for a throw combo into Cider into neutral sig, and Logec fell into all of it. Suddenly, this game that was really heavily in Logic's favor has sort of evened up. Even though Addy died, he got a ton of damage off of that 1 hammer string.
Yeah, now that Addymestic's feeling a little bit more comfortable with this legend, I feel like he might be able to actually end the stock really quickly and bring it to the point where it's like both stocks are even. But still, Logec getting some damage. Silent is put out. Weapon toss connects, but Addymestic's not finding any of these hammer side airs, and Logec is ready to punish. Weapon toss comes out. Sidelight. Logec trying to get Addymestic into the orange. Cider will actually hit, and Addymestic doesn't get punished for putting out that side stick, but a D-Light Cider will put Addy into the orange, and even though that Nair connects, it still doesn't kill Logec's Sir Roland.
Yeah, Addy has been finding success with the hammer, and so he goes ahead and picks it up and fishes for hammer swings to get the kill, but it takes him forever to finally find a dare on Logec, and by the time he does, he's already in kill percent for Logec.
Yeah, sidelight comes out from Logec. Addymestic gets that neutral light as well. Weapon comes in with the lance, and Logec's trying to get this kill off of Addymestic before Addymestic has the opportunity to take it to 3. And that signature actually connects, doesn't kill with a bomb. Wow, he doesn't dodge past it, trusting that he can just maneuver around it, gets the stomp. Doesn't get the downer, but Addymestic suddenly finding a string. 2 weapon tosses to the face will do quite a bit of damage on Logec. Actually gets scooped. He's nearing kill percent. Addymestic trying to bring this back.
Yeah, Logec certainly hasn't been doing very good this stock. That side sig is huge. Addy, if he finds a side air or a ground pound, Logec dodges through it very well timed.
Bomb gets thrown off the side of the map. Cider connects, but Addymestic has the opportunity to come back here. Logec he's just flubbing these edge guards here, and Logec actually gets hit by a Cider. He's low on jumps. Weapon toss goes high. Logec goes for a Nair. He goes for a Nair instead of a down air. Addymestic dodges through the bomb. Ground pound comes out.
Ground pound will finish it off. Wow.